Anyway, okay, so we're gonna start the fake news. We're starting the fake news now, gang. And for those of you that are new here, this is a segment that we do. This is a segment that we do here that is, like I said, it's called fake news, and we go over a litany of things, like news articles that I think are funny or relevant. A lot of times it's like self-help stuff, like trying to help people with their mental wellness. Sometimes it's financial stuff. Whatever it is. I try to, we try to come out with a lot of information in the morning, and then we do games, like, or we talk about games, and then we go into a video game. So anyway, so if you type in ! Fake news, you'll get all the links. So if you want to go look at them later, you can. But the very first one is, of course, and I don't know why I would do this to myself, but I saw it and I was like, I'm sure Chad is gonna love this. But our very first one is gonna be the trailer for Pet Sematary. Deep breaths, because I could pass out.
So many trees. It's beautiful.
Sorry, I'm already scared. Her voice is terrible.
Here we go. Okay, so what do you think?
This kid is like the devil spawn already. This kid's the devil spawn. Watch, listen.
So many trees.
She's creepy. Execute her now.
Boston. Here we go. Okay, so what do you think?
So many trees.
I'm terrified.
So many trees.
It's beautiful, right?
So many trees.
It's beautiful.
So many trees.
It's beautiful.
So many trees.
It's beautiful.
Brad, I'm right there with you. Brad, hold me.
So many trees.
It's beautiful, right?
That's definitely not Boston. Here we go. Okay, so what do you think?
Wow. This whole place is ours?
I even got him to throw in a whole forest as a new backyard.
Oh my God! I don't want to watch this anymore.
It was a myth. Kids used to dare each other to go into the woods at night. They knew the power of that place. They feared it. Those woods belong to something else.
That's why I killed the cats in Red Dead Redemption 2.
It's bad. It may be just some crazy folk tale, but there is something up in those woods. There's something that brings things back.
I don't want to. I muted it. I don't want to finish it. I'm scared. Let me know when it's over. I'm not looking.
Sometimes dead is better.
All right. I'm sorry. I couldn't anymore. That was, oh my gosh, that's terrible. That is terrible. That is like, I no. No, thank you. I freaking jump on my chair and I'm at work. Yeah, no. No thanks. No thank you. Let me guess. A kid gets killed. Dad puts kid in the ground. Kid comes out. There, pay me the money. Love the book, and the first version of the movie sucked ass. This looks much better. Dude, I don't even know. Like, you guys are sick and twisted. There's no way I want to watch that. Rip cat from Red Dead Redemption 2. It was that cat. He deserved to die. Okay. Now, I saw this article. Stress mess. 3 in 5 millennials say life more stressful now than ever before. From slow Wi-Fi to broken phone screens to 0 likes on social media. Everyday stressors are causing young adults to have struggles falling asleep 138 nights each year, researchers say. Now, I don't want to make light of anybody's stress, but if these are the kinds of problems we're talking about, like, you need to sack up. You got to sack up, okay? So smartphones and digital technology are supposed to make our lives easier, but for young adults, it seems that things may only be getting tougher, and for a slew of reasons. According to one recent survey, about 3 out of 5 millennials, 58%, feel life is more stressful right now than ever before. In fact, the survey of 2,000 American millennials commissioned by CBD oil company and Doka reveals that 1/3 of millennials believe their lives are more stressful than the average person's life. The survey also pointed to numerous causes of the frustration for this young segment. Many feel their overall stress level is caused by the accumulation of daily micro stressors, seemingly trivial experiences such as being stuck in traffic, waiting for appointments, or various smartphone issues. For example, although losing one's wallet or credit card ranked as the top source of stress for respondents, 1 in 5 say they'd be even more apoplectic if their smartphone screen broke. For more than 2 in 5 millennials, 41%, a damaged phone screen is worse than seeing their check engine light flash on in the car. Meanwhile, getting into an argument with a partner was the second greatest source of stress for participants overall. But 1 in 5 agreed that getting 0 likes on a social media post is a more stress-inducing experience. 1/3 feel that having their phone die is a more miserable scenario than seeing a fraudulent charge on their credit card bill. And while gridlock was the third most common cause of stress for young adults, 30% of those surveyed agreed that slow Wi-Fi was even more stressful than slow traffic. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going through this, but y'all can read it yourself. Again, type in fake news. You'll get the link, and then you can read about this, and then you can decide for yourself. And apparently, if you want to get a great outfit, cowboy, you can do Sabella more, okay? Just saying. Anyway, so that's that. Something that Suspense and I found the other day, and I ordered some, and it's good. It's not great, but recently I've been eating a lot healthier. I'm actually down to 191 and change. And so I was like, it'd be nice to be able to have some kind of a dessert. And so Days had told me or turned me on several months ago to a website called, I think it's called nofoods.com. I think that's the name of the website. And so they have like a lot of keto snacks. This company does like paleo snacks, but I mean, it's very similar. What I found was that they're actually local. They're in Miami. And so they do donuts, they do chocolate chips, they do cinnamon rolls, they do brownies, etc. And so I just wanted to share it with you guys because when you're doing these kinds of, when you're eating healthy, a lot of times, are you on that wheatgrass yet? No, not today. I'm not today. I don't want to ready anyone either. I don't want to ready anyone and have heard more than enough. I'm confused. I'm lost between Apex and Wolfgang. I've completely lost it. And so, it's like, if you eat healthy, you can't really enjoy certain things. Listen, this stuff is not as good as Dunkin' Donuts. I ain't going to bullshit you. These aren't as good as Chips Ahoy. I ain't going to bullshit you. These aren't as good as Little Debbie brownies. I ain't going to bullshit you. These cinnamon rolls are not as good as the Cinnabuns. I ain't going to bullshit you. But it's a nice, healthy alternative. Well, Chips Ahoy are shit. How would you know? You've never even had one, okay? So anyway, but I wanted to share this with you guys so that you could see that there are some alternatives. Tomorrow I'll show you guys the No website that Days shared with me a couple months ago. I totally forgot about that one in terms of sharing it. So you bullshit me. I'd rather eat toe cheese. Listen, they're not bad though. They're good. So anyway, I'll share that one with you too. So that way you guys can see some healthy alternatives. I know there's a couple people that have actually been messaging me on Instagram, and so about weight loss, and have been doing it on their own, and have been sending me like screenshots of their stuff and whatever. So I just kind of figured, without getting into people's private information, I'd rather just kind of like generally share this stuff that I've been finding and what's been helping me. So anyway, so that's that. And then, so Sekiro is a game that I've been talking about. And so, Sekiro is made from Software, which made Bloodborne and Dark Souls. And obviously, we did Bloodborne, and it was traumatic. And so here is an explanation on 4 ways that Sekiro is different than the rest of the From Software games.
On the go.
And so I haven't watched this, but I'm really hoping that it's not as hard.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is an action-adventure game developed by From Software, the team responsible for the famously tough Soulsborne series. However, Sekiro is set to take an exciting departure from the previous formula. Here are 4 ways Sekiro differs from the Soul series and 4 things they have in common.
1 player, 1 class, 1 character.
In Soulsborne games,
Okay.
players first choose their class, or origin as it's referred to in Bloodborne. These classes determine the equipment and stats of the player's character. Sekiro switches out these RPG elements for a fixed protagonist with an ever-expanding set of skills. The character, Sekiro, is a katana-wielding shinobi with a prosthetic arm that can be upgraded as the game progresses, paving way for new abilities and
dope.
skills rather
That
than
was dope.
interchangeable weapons and equipment. Sekiro's character progression is done through a skill system, as opposed to Soulsborne's stat system, which relied on accumulating souls or blood echoes to raise stats individually. Now, players are awarded skill points for defeating enemies and bringing down bosses. Points can be attributed to multiple skill trees, 3 of which are Shinobi, Prosthetic, and Ashina. Each skill tree contains 3 types of skills: combat arts, which are offensive techniques to damage enemies; Shinobi martial arts, which offer ways to counter or evade your opponent in
dope.
combat;
That's
and
really
latent
dope.
skills, which have an everlasting effect outside of battle, such as boosting the power of healing items. Stealth is a vital part of Sekiro, whereas
Love
in Dark
it.
Souls, the only stealth option afforded to players was the chance to backstab enemies,
I love
if they
this.
were lucky enough to get behind them
Oh,
unnoticed.
dude. Oh,
As a
dude.
ninja, it's only fitting players can crouch in long grass to remain hidden from passing enemies, or hang from ledges, hug walls, and sneak up on unsuspecting targets before delivering the killer blow.
Whoa. Wait a second. We can sneak up on this dude? I mean, I'll tell you what. Hell yeah, I would totally sneak up. Just saying.
Up on unsuspecting targets before delivering the killer blow. Sekiro's grappling hook completely transforms the way you move through the game. You're able to dart across rooftops and quickly escape from the heat of battle, moving to a more advantageous position. This makes Sekiro a more vertically open world compared to Soulsborne, and the grappling hook can open up vast new areas if you're willing to explore. Despite moving away from the Soulsborne formula, Sekiro still harbours some of its DNA. For example, the world is vast and interconnected, much like the first Dark Souls.
Okay.
Exploring a new path often brings you back to a familiar place, or opens up a shortcut to somewhere you've been before, giving the impression the world exists seamlessly as one. Unsurprisingly, Sekiro is a game that doesn't pull its punches. From Software is cementing its reputation of making games that challenge a player's skill, and the removal of some RPG mechanics may actually make it tougher, as you can't rely on high-leveled weapons or overpowered armor.
Uh-oh, wait a second, this is bad. Huh?
While dying remains core to Sekiro, it works slightly differently to Soulsborne. Rather than being sent back to the last checkpoint, Sekiro can choose to resurrect immediately after he is slain, and resume the battle from where he left off.
Boom.
This
Easy mode.
ability proves invaluable against the tougher bosses and can often help when you need to deliver that final blow.
Easy.
You get 2 charges of this ability. One full charge is automatically granted from respawning or resting at checkpoints, and the other can be charged up manually by killing enemies over time.
Dude.
However,
I'm
if you
gonna
use
crush
up
this game.
one resurrection ability, the second one becomes locked to prevent you from overusing it, and you'll have to work to unlock it by defeating more enemies. If you die again without a full charge, you'll be sent back to the last Sculptor's Idol, the Sekiro equivalent of Souls' bonfires. Upon death, players' money and experience points are halved permanently.
What?
This can only be avoided with unseen aid, where the gods take pity on the player and let them keep their XP after they die.
We're gonna need a
Experience
lot of
points
pity.
Upon death, players' money and experience points are halved permanently. This can only be avoided with unseen aid, where the gods take pity on the player and let them keep their XP after they die. It's not guaranteed though. The odds of this happening start at 30%, but are influenced by key events and items you discover. However, like in Dark Souls 2, where a player's max HP reduced after each respawn, Sekiro has consequences for players who die and resurrect too often, by unleashing a deadly disease known as dragon rot. This stops infected allies such as traders from interacting with Sekiro, and significantly reduces your
He's got
chances
the
of
AIDS.
getting unseen aid. Sekiro has enough throwbacks to the classic Soulsborne formula to keep From Software fans eager for a new challenge, but equally has a fresh approach to make it a welcome departure from the studio's previous games. For more on Sekiro, check out 8 things you need to know here on IGN.
Why do they have to make it so hard, dude? Love it. Let's 99 that shit. If you died too many times, it will impact the ending. The reviews will be out Thursday. Very excited. He will be lucky to hit 50%. Alpha, what's up, buddy? How's it going? Eating paleo sweets is like buying an SUV and calling it a truck. A little bit. Yes, I would agree with that, Apex. Yes. Apex, you nailed it. Apex actually just nailed that. He nailed it. Samurai Splinter Cell. I love that, cowboy. That's exactly what I was thinking. Sneak up and mount him. Did you see that, though? Did you see that dude's ass? Well, we will just see how non-covert... Oh, gosh. So death is a pause button? No, not really. Have you had Simple Mills yet? No, the only one I've had is No. I've had No, which is one of the ones you recommended, and now this Paleo Bakehouse. Cover will always find ways to cheese it. Relax. That's right, baby. Guang knows what's up, man. Guang knows what time it is, baby. Okay. So, there's an article here from Forbes that is the Division 2's endgame is making me quit Destiny and Anthem for now. Okay, so now we're going to start talking about Division 2. Now, I understand that Division 2 is not the best viewing experience, in my opinion. I believe that the story lacks a little bit. I believe it's weak, is what I would say. So I believe the Division 2 story is weak. However, I think that I made a crucial mistake last week. And by me playing with others the first week, I think made the story feel even weaker because I can't hear what's going on. We can't hear what's going on. And so I think that hurts the fact that the story was already kind of weak. And so Apex, I think it's more like from a viewer perspective, right? It's like you're looking for something to get involved in, and the story's already weak, and then in addition to that, I have people talking. That's number one. Number two, I think the other drawback of having played with people last week, the entire week, was that we didn't really get to experience the content like on our own. And I feel like from 1 to 30, I think I prefer playing it by myself. because you really get to experience the content that way. And so I think that was number 2. And then number 3 was I wasn't able to be as active with chat. And so, I'm sorry, wait, take a step back. With number 2, part of the thing is that I couldn't focus as much on education. We couldn't really learn all the stuff. When people are talking, I'm trying to pay attention to everything that's going on. So we have chat, people are talking to me, and we're playing a game, right? And so now I'm like split between 3 things, and it's harder for me to focus and learn what's going on and then be able to explain those things. And then a lot of times I'll be explaining it, and then somebody that will chime in and start talking over me. And so then now I'm like, okay, you know. And so like whenever people are playing with me, I try to be like polite and I want to involve them and whatever. And so then that kind of like takes away from where I'm able to deliver. And so having played at night the entire week, I was able to learn quite a bit, whether it was from playing with other people, talking to other people that were ahead of me, or just playing by myself and experiencing the game for myself. And so as a result, when I got here to the end, I was like, wow, there's so much that I've learned throughout this week, and I wanted to share it with people because the truth is I really think this is a good game. Now, I'm going to preface that by saying that in my opinion, for me, and this is subjective obviously, but for me, if the raid comes out and it's decent, I got my money's worth because this game is loaded with content. And so I've already experienced so much that as long as the raid is like even decent, I feel like I got my money's worth. That said, Wolfgang was very critical of Division 2. He played the beta. He's like, man, it's really not that good. It feels just like Division 1 to me, etc., etc. He got convinced, not by me. I didn't do it because, you know, I didn't want to be the one to convince people. What's up, Kiz Nasty? How are you? Nice to see you again. Kiz, you're in the clan, man. I sent you an invite last night. And so whatever, one thing led to another. He picked up the game. His first night, he was a sourpuss. Oh, I don't like this and I don't like that, whatever. Second night, he was like a little quiet. Last night, he said, you know what? I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he basically said, I was very critical of this. I didn't think it was going to be that good, but I can already tell that this is worth this. I'm getting my money's worth here. And so he agrees with me that it's still kind of Division 1.5. It's kind of like what I hope Division 1 would have been. But this is like they delivered. And so he still wants to see what Endgame is going to bring. And, you know, fair enough. But so essentially what's happened to me over the weekend, you know, playing at night and over the weekend is, look, stream-wise, I know I'm going to take a hit doing this. But I want to play this again this week. I wanted to share this with you guys. I want you all to like really see what this game is so that you can, if you're interested in it, you can go out and you can give it a try. And so that's why we're here. I really am enjoying the game. And I'm seeing that people that were on the fence are really enjoying the game as well. So that's why we're back on Division this week. Okay, so now this article says, if you follow my work at all, you know that I'm the looter guy. I write about this genre more than any other and have way, way too many hours sunk into it. Literal years of my life devoted to any game with a loot grind. This week has been utter madness. I have been trying to balance A, new Destiny 2 content in Season of the Drifter, B, Anthem continuing to try to fix itself by bumping drop rates and implementing other changes, and C, the release of the Division 2, which comes with a literal mountain of content to get through. This isn't like a fluff piece. What's up, Mexican? How you doing? CG, how you doing? This is not a fluff piece. There really is a mountain of content here. This resulted in my splitting my gaming time between these 3 games, often in the same day, and while I'm not complaining because my job rules, I will say that it's been making my head spin a bit. But once I hit the Division 2's endgame, which is exactly what happened to me, I realized I was done with the other two. I'm setting them down, at least for a while. Anthem has a long, long road ahead of it to get where it needs to be, and I cannot devote any serious amount of time to it until larger scale fixes are made. Destiny 2's Season of the Drifter is fine, but I've done most of the major content for it, and I don't particularly feel the need to race all my characters to 700 power just to take on an activity that has me grinding for Gambit Prime armor alone. The Division 2, on the other hand, has one of the most elaborate, intricate, interesting endgame setups I've ever seen, and I am going to be spending a tremendous amount of time in it. I can already tell. Now, here's the thing. Looter shooters might not be your genre, okay? That's fair enough. Then I don't recommend any of these games. Looter shooters that are realistic or based in reality where you have to shoot people a lot, that may not be your thing. And I would tell you that Division 2 is going to hurt a little bit in there in that regard, because sometimes they did adjust time to kill. It's much better, but sometimes you really gotta chunk people down. Now, that said, most of the bad guys have a weak point. And so if you hit them in their weak point, it's like getting a headshot. So it's like a different way of thinking of it. Like, for example, here, let me show you this. So you see this guy right here. Oh, darn. Damn it. I thought it was going to freeze there, but it didn't. There's a guy with like a red pouch. I'll show it to you later. But there's like a guy with a red pouch, and then that guy, you can, if you hit him there, it's like getting a headshot. And headshots do hurt too. It's just that there's a weak point that's better than that usually. All right. Anyway, I have been pretty positive about the Division 2 overall during its level 1 through 30 campaign phase, which has taken a lot of the lessons learned from the first game and made sure they were in a place for launch here. Agreed. The enemies are less spongy. Combat is hard but tactical and fair, requiring patience and practice. If you run and gun, you're going to die. That's for sure. The world of ruined DC here is gorgeous. I disagree with him there. I prefer the New York setting. The loot is interesting, and gearing up and leveling is engaging and feels rewarding. It's all good. This guy is on point on everything except for this. But this is super subjective, right? But I will say it is gorgeous. I preferred the other one, but I was not expecting how fully the game transforms once you complete everything in the campaign and hit max level. It's not just okay. Now we refarm everything for 1% power increases. It feels like half the game was relegated to the end game. I guess I should have seen this coming, given that Massive shouted through a bullhorn that they were designing the Division 2 with a coherent end game at its core. But this genre has struggled so hard with getting end game content right at launch. I still was not expecting much. This is exactly what I have been saying for 60 days. That it would be a travesty and a blemish on humanity if Massive did not learn. From the mistakes they made in Division 1. Guang, I hope you're out there, bro. I hope you're out there, and I hope you're listening to this. Because I'm telling you right now, this is all facts, bro. This is all facts. So far, however, what I am seeing is phenomenal. Character progression evolves. You pick from one of 3 specializations, which gives you a specific super weapon, an explosive crossbow, a heavy sniper rifle, or a grenade launcher. And each of those has a skill tree, I'm going to show it to you later, that you have to level up that gives you various bonuses, including entirely unique skill perks for existing gear. I was worried I was going to have to re-level 3 characters to use each one, but no, you can switch between them freely and level them up however you want. And you can even respec your spent skill points in each tree. And there are 3 more specializations coming through the course of the next year. I did not know that. That is badass. So they're going to come out with 3 more specializations, which is basically like giving you 3 new heroes. So for a total of 6. The game introduces an entirely new enemy faction that was absent from the campaign, Black Tusk. A paramilitary unit arrives from out of nowhere, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read that because I don't want to spoil it. We're going to experience that today. The point of the end game is to progress through world tiers to higher and higher difficulties with better and better loot. You complete invaded missions to unlock strongholds that have a minimum power requirement. Hit that requirement, beat the stronghold, and progress to the next world tier. You guys can finish out this article if you're interested, but I am telling you that this is really good. It's really, really good. Now, I am going to show you this. This is not the exact trailer because I couldn't find the exact trailer. But essentially, when I beat the third stronghold, this is what the game showed me. And I can't replicate or duplicate the feeling that I had inside. You're more of a fanboy than I. At this point, I am. I've been waiting. I have been waiting, and I've been like, oh, you know, whatever. But now I'm all on board. I'm all on board. What up, Sui? And so I can't tell you the feeling I had after I beat that last stronghold, and then they showed me this. Okay. But it was great. Here we go. If you guys notice, the American flag was coming down. And so essentially what happens is when you reach endgame, the Black Tusks come in and they kind of like take over things. Yeah, it is. Yeah, is this in-game footage? Asking for a friend. Yeah, it is. I got more spoilers for you all. Covert dies a lot. Ubi always did well at showing trailers. They do. You're right. Yeah, the trailer. I would agree with you. Ubisoft trailers are always good. I'm always skeptical. So I agree with Guang on that. But I can tell you, Guang, that Massive has delivered on this game. Delivered. Okay, now my final thing about Division 2 in terms of fake news is after release, the Division 2 will get an update called Tidal Basin. This update houses a new stronghold for players to invade and is set in a harbor around Washington, D.C.'s Tidal Basin National Park. Operation Dark Hours will launch after Tidal Basin. This will be the Division 2's first raid and require 8 people to complete. It's unclear how raids will work in the Division 2 outside of requiring team play and coordination, but raids were the biggest announcement at last year's E3 and have been a fan requested feature since the Division. True. Okay, so again, you reach level 30, the Black Tusks come out, then you have to like do a bunch of stuff, and then after that, then they're going to release, and we don't know when they're going to release it, but shortly thereafter, they're going to release Tidal Basin. Tidal Basin will be another set of content. Then, shortly thereafter, they're going to release the first raid. Okay? After the release of the raid, the Division 2's episodes will begin. In summer of 2019. So I just want you to think about this. Because if you've been playing this game already, and you're like, damn, dude, I still have so much to do. Okay? If you want the 2-minute cutscene from the game, go here. Skip to 36. Okay. Thank you. I will check that in a second. I'll play that. So if you're like, dude, I still have a shit ton of stuff to do. Well, guess what? When you finish that and you get to level 30, you're going to have to deal with the Black Tusks, and you're going to have to do all the other stuff that pops up, because a whole bunch of stuff changes. Okay, that's number one. Then after that, they're going to release Tidal Basin, and you're going to have to do that. After Tidal Basin, they're going to release the first raid. So you're going to have a raid to do. And then in the summer of 2019, episode 1 is DC Outskirts. Expeditions will launch. This update will bring a new area to the Division 2 set in the overgrown outskirts of DC. Like all episodes, it'll bring a new narrative. It'll bring new narrative missions as well as new gameplay modes. DC Outskirts Expeditions will also add an untitled game mode where players investigate a lost convoy. Episode 2 is the Pentagon, the Last Castle, and is out this fall. So Last Castle, you can't fix it, but I guess that's the Pentagon. I hadn't realized that was the Pentagon, by the way. That's going to be out this fall. This will add new narrative missions, as well as a mode where division agents explore the secrets of the Pentagon. That actually could be pretty cool. Ubisoft hasn't revealed episode 3's name yet, but it'll conclude the first part of the Division 2 storyline. In addition to new story content and game modes, Ubisoft will add 3 new specializations over the next year. These specializations are new endgame classes that players can switch between, each offering a new skill tree and exclusive weapons. Ubisoft hasn't revealed any details about the 3 new specializations. The game's current specializations are Survivalist, Demolition, and a Sharpshooter. We'll go over that. Players can expect an in-game store where they can purchase cosmetic items on their characters after launch, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that's their roadmap. So this is first year roadmap. So I am telling you, they nailed this, dude. Here is the time sync link to that video. Are you talking about this one right here? I haven't seen this, if this is what you're talking about.
The launch of the Division 2 is only the beginning of our journey. We have an extensive post-launch plan supporting the game for the year to come. This content will be free and accessible for everyone. It all starts shortly after release, with the introduction of Tidal Basin, a new challenging faction stronghold held by the Black Tusk. Next up is the launch of Operation Dark Hours, the first 8-player raid in the history of the Division. Team play and coordination will be the key to success. As the year unfolds, we will be releasing 3 new episodes. Episodes are free major content updates with additional narratives and missions.
They're free.
New PvP and PvE modes, as well as 3 entirely new specializations. New threats will rise as the situation in Washington, D.C. evolves. Our first free episode, DC Outskirts Expeditions, will take you to the surrounding areas of Washington to fight for the liberation of the city in 2 additional main missions. The first major update will also introduce a new game mode. Division agents must form an expedition to investigate the fate of a lost convoy, encountering unexpected threats along the way. The second free episode, Pentagon, the Last Castle, will host its own narrative extension with additional main missions and introduce a new experience, as agents will have to storm the Pentagon and unveil the secrets that hide beneath one of America's most iconic locations. The third free episode will close the first chapter of the Division 2 storyline and pave the way for even more content to come. We will also introduce 3 entirely new specializations. Each of them will bring in a new unique signature weapon and skill tree to unlock and master. New endgame specializations will help you redefine your own personal playstyle as you take on new high-level challenges. The Year 1 Pass owners will enjoy 7 days early access to the episodes, instant access to the specializations as they release, a series of 8 classified assignments revealing more about the fall of DC, base of operations projects, more bounty targets, as well as trophies and unique customization items. The Division 2 is an ever-evolving game that we are committed to keep improving upon as we listen to community feedback. There will be vast amounts of varied new content deployed in the coming months. No matter your playstyle, there will always be something new for you to experience. We look forward to seeing you on the streets of Washington, D.C.
Anyhow, so this is why I have become so bullish on this game. It's really good. Not only is it really good, but their roadmap is really good. Like, they are not messing around.